It is a gorgeous Sunday in Miami. If you're a Miami Marlin, for the Washington Nationals, not so much. It's been a tough run for the Nationals. The Marlins have added to their agony, winning the first two of this three-game set. A Sunday fun day, kids at the ballpark, even big kids at the ballpark. Michael Taylor, local kid, makes good. Nationals trying to get it together. Max Scherzer and Brad Hand. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton. 4 in a row for the Fish. Nationals have dropped 5 in a row. And for Miami, it's really been fun to watch. This is a young ball club in many parts, and they've all of a sudden started to play well.
Yeah, things have really started to click, especially on this homestand and in this series. And clearly, the Marlins have outplayed the Nationals in this series.
Yes, this homestand, if you want to stretch back actually and go the last 11 ball games, the numbers that the Marlins have put up, very impressive.
Well, the Marlins during that time, you see the numbers, have won 9 of 11. Individually, guys like Martin Prado on the homestand hitting over 400. Yelich, Bohr, Real Muto, D. Gordon have all done well. The starting pitchers, the bullpen against the Nationals just in this series has allowed 1 unearned run. So it has collectively been a good group playing some great baseball. Over the last 11 games, just 3 errors.
Very good starting pitching. Jared Cozart, Jose Fernandez are the 2 starters who've pitched well to get the Marlins started for their 2 wins. Brad Hand goes in this one. Marlins are hopeful that Hand can bounce back from his last start.
He wants to go out there and pitch the way he did against the Pirates on August 25th when he went 8 solid innings. But over his last 2 starts, 6+ innings, he's given up 14 hits and 12 runs. It's all about getting ahead early with that good first pitch fastball strike.
One of the mysteries of baseball right now is Max Scherzer.
Yeah, you talk about mysteries. Last 7 starts for this highly paid starter. Last 7 starts for Scherzer. He's 0-3 with an ERA over 6.
It's the Nationals and the Marlins. This telecast all about kids, all about youth baseball, all about college baseball. And when we get back, bullpen. Short starts by Cozart and Jose. No problem. The Marlins pen has had their backs.
back with the niner here. The bullpen, you're right, has been amazing. 8 innings. They've allowed only 1 earned run. They've struck out 9. And they've been the key to nailing down these 2 wins.
Yeah, the Marlins offense really hasn't been that prolific as far as scoring runs as of late, but the bullpen has been outstanding. A couple of short starts the last 2 nights. One because of Jose Fernandez was on a pitch limit after coming off the DL. But like you said, only 1 earned run in the 8 innings pitched the last 2 nights.
Big outs. You saw Radel Lazo get Harper in a key spot in the ball game with a man on third, and it was just a 1 or 2-0 game at the time. And then Morris came in, and they just one after another.
Yeah, one after another. 6 strikeouts last night by the bullpen, 3 by Morris and 3 by Ramos at the back end after giving up a leadoff double, but was actually moved to third base on an error. So it was a leadoff triple, essentially. Ends up striking out the side to leave that guy stranded.
How about the movement on Ramos's pitches there? The first 2 with the off-speed breaking balls, and then that fastball got Jose jumping. And why not, as he wins his 16th against no defeats at home, and that is a Major League record-tying number for him. You look at that bullpen, the numbers, only 1 walk, too.
Yeah, Lazo got a huge at-bat against Bryce Harper. Bearclaw has been outstanding. He's got about a .5 ERA. A lot of eyes opened up now for him for next year's bullpen. Scherzer struggling. I know Hand's struggling. On paper, you favor Scherzer. How do the Marlins win this game? Well, they jump on Scherzer early like they did last time. They got to him pretty early and ended up winning that game. So the Nationals are reeling right now. I think they're a listless team that's kind of thrown in the towel. So good time for the Marlins to jump on them and get another victory. And the Marlins are on the other side of that coin with 9 wins in their last 11 games. Their second best streak of the season. Fish go for the sweep against the Washington Nationals and a 7-2 homestand. We'll see. Scherzer Hand the matchup for Game 3 of the series. Ouch! Next.
Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Vico Painting Contractors. For top quality work, excellent customer satisfaction. Visit VicoPainting.com. And by AutoNation. Save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. Downtown Miami on this Sunday. Brad Hand leads the Marlins out, and away they go. Nationals and Marlins finish off the series. Fish got the first 2. Nationals lineup brought to you by JM Lexus. Anthony Rendon's up in the leadoff spot. Matt Williams trying different combinations now. Danny Espinosa's at third. Bryce Harper's in right. Jason Worth is in left field. Ian Desmond at short. Wilson Ramos will do the catching. Michael Taylor's in center. Tyler Moore is at first, and Max Scherzer will do the pitching.
Certainly, Brad Hand getting that look here as the season winds down, making his 11th start. Getting that look as to where he will stand with this ball club next year. Trying to rebound after a couple of rocky starts. Trying to rebound to the way he pitched against the Pirates back in late August.
So Hand will face Anthony Rendon. It's Yunel Escobar who's hitting in the 2 spot, and Bryce Harper. And the first pitch misses outside. It's brought to you by Pinch A Penny. Rendon in the leadoff spot. Boy, for Matt Williams trying to stop this fall, there's a look at Escobar. He's at third and hitting second. Trying to stop this free fall has not been easy. Moving guys in and out of the leadoff spot. You've got Worth down in the cleanup spot. Harper's kind of been the only guy that stayed in the 3 spot in that order and hasn't moved.
Yeah, Worth had a stretch of 21 games where he hit leadoff. And today it's his 3rd start hitting cleanup this year.
There's a strike for Brad Hand. Strike 1, strike 2 early in count. So important for this lefty.
Well, then he can go with the changeup or the breaking ball, and it just sets up all of his other pitches.
There's the breaking ball. Rendon smacks it into center field for a hit. Ozuna picks it up, and the Nationals have a hit to open up this ball game. Miami's defense very good this year, brought to you by BMW.
Boy, it has been terrific. Just 2 errors over the last 11 ball games. 3 errors, excuse me. Yelich, Ozuna, Ichiro in the outfield. Martin Prado, Miguel Rojas. Derek Dietrich, his first start this year at second base. Justin Boers at first, Jeff Mathis behind the plate.
There's Dietrich, quickly becoming known as utility man Derek Dietrich, which in the major leagues is not a bad title to have, especially if it gets you in the lineup. Now Escobar, a stomach bug last night, knocked him out of the Nationals lineup against Jose Fernandez, but Escobar is I guess a bright spot. You look at the numbers there, 321 average, his on base a healthy 377, and he's slugging 428. Cuban infielder runs up to bunt and misses. A ball and a strike. Tommy, you noted Miami's defense and how good it's been. It's kind of coincided with this run, winning 9 of 11. Craig and Jeff talked about the bullpen during that span.
I think sometimes too, defense can be taken in another direction as opposed to just looking at errors. Mentioned 3 in the last 11 games. A lot of times it's plays that are made that stop a runner from taking an extra base. Just plays like that that aren't going to be recorded as an assist or as a putout.
That's strike 3 called. Escobar lingers at the plate and heads back to the dugout.
Well, lingering's never going to get the call changed, and it turns out to be an absolutely perfect pitch by Brad Hand.
So Bryce Harper stands in, and for National fans, I guess for the next few weeks, one of the things that they'll watch is Bryce Harper and his opportunity to lead a lot of major categories in the National League. And a strike. And at the top of the list is that batting race. He, Buster Posey, and D. Gordon are still in it. Yunel Escobar, by the way, is 4th. Harper at 333, Posey and Gordon at 327 at start of play today. D. Gordon getting the day off for Miami. Harper lifts one down the left field line. Foul. But the list for Harper, Tommy, is pretty extensive. I mean, it doesn't stop with the batting title. On base, he's first in Major League Baseball. Slugging, first. On base plus slugging, obviously first. Second in runs scored in the majors, first in the National League. He's had 110 walks.
Well, that's as you and I have talked about it, that's why he's going to keep that average in that area, because he will draw the walk. However, he's just 1 for 7 in this series.
Rendon still at first. Slow tapper out towards short. No one at second. Out barely.
Wow. Maybe.
Dietrich was playing over towards first with Harper a threat to pull, and with that swing.
See how far Dietrich is over. It's tough for him to get to second base, and then he didn't go hard, because I think he assumed, and man, they tell you all the time, don't assume. He assumed Rojas was going to go there immediately. Just gets his foot on the bag before the slide of Rendon.
That was close. It's a fielder's choice.
The foot is up of Rendon, that lead foot, as Rojas gets his foot on the bag.
A discussion going on between Jason Worth and Tom Woodring, and I think it was about the second base umpire Ron Kolpa. Worth wanted him over on the third base side. Kolpa does move. It's a professional courtesy by that second base umpire. And Worth takes a strike.
Well, Brad Hand doing what we talked about he needed to do, getting ahead to most of the hitters and getting ahead with that two-seam fastball.
Ian Desmond watching on deck. A 1 coming. And it is out. Worth is one of the most versatile guys for the Nationals in terms of moving him in and around their batting order. As you pointed out, in the leadoff spot a lot this year. Enough power to hit third, fourth. Can hit second.
To show you how his average was down, he's still just at 225, even though as a leadoff hitter he was hitting a little over 300 in those 21 games.
Not a big lead at all by Harper at first.
I think, Rich, there will be some really interesting changes. There might be some finger pointing in the Nationals organization, because there are a lot of areas in which they've failed this year.
Well, it was a week ago. They were 4 back of the Mets, and that was coming off a 4-game sweep of the Braves, and that was going up against the Mets at home. Worth takes a strike in a 3-game series, so they had the opportunity. I mean, if they take 2 of 3, they're 3 back. If they sweep, they're a game back. And look at where they are now.
They're a game over 500.
They're 9.5 back. They have absolutely plummeted, and the Marlins have had a hand in that in winning the first 2 of this 3-game set. Busted bat. It's Rojas. Has to hurry, and he does. Uh-oh. Bryce Harper got tangled up with Derek Dietrich, and Harper is down and in pain. He's making a turn. Dietrich's come into the bag. Dietrich was trying to get to the bag, thinking the throw might come to him. Harper figured the throw was going to third, and so he's thinking about going to third. That's 2 guys with 2 very different thoughts, Tommy.
Well, and consider that Dietrich was late in getting over on the play previous, so this time he's going to make sure he's there. He gets there right at the time Harper gets there. Rojas ends up making the play at first base.
Harper is down. We'll step aside and hopefully have better news when we return. His own power walking towards the dugout. He's going to come out of the ball game.
Yeah, it looks like.
Here's a look again.
Keep in mind, Dietrich was late in getting to the bag on the prior play. He gets to the bag. He's not sure who's going to field it, Prado or Rojas. And as he gets there, it's at the same time, right there, same time, Harper's taking his turn.
Certainly unfortunate, and we'll sort out how the Nationals are going to line up now. Matt Den Decker is going to come into the ball game. There's another look. I think, too, Dietrich is thinking, Tommy, if Prado cuts that ball off with his momentum, he's coming to second.
Absolutely. If the play is made by Martin Prado, his throw goes to second base, so that's why Dietrich has to get there.
Harper, and you know, you love the hustle for Harper. He's thinking, you know what, if Worth beats it out at first, I got a shot at third.
I got to be at third base
if the throw's going across the diamond. So Jason Worth is going to be over in right field. Dietrich trying to describe what he saw and felt. There's Den Decker, former Gator and a South Florida guy. And Ichiro stands in.
The one thing you know, again, Max Scherzer, is going to be a lot of strikes. He's going to come right after you. And the Marlins had a good approaches last start against them. They were aggressive.
Ichiro pops that one out towards short. Desmond is there and he makes the catch. Miami's lineup is brought to you by JM Lexus. Ichiro had 3 hits in yesterday's ballgame. Christian Yelich in left. Martin Prado against Scherzer, especially this year, has good numbers. Justin Boers at first, Marcelo Zuna in center. Dietrich at second, Miguel Rojas at short, Jeff Mathis the start behind the plate. And Yelich takes a fastball for a strike. Yelich a couple hits in this series. One thing about Scherzer, and we've seen it, Tommy, just in watching him this year, he'll start the game at 93, 94, and little by little the velocity will go up. Which is kind of opposite a lot of pitchers who start at max velocity and go down. Off speed, Yelich rolls it to second, and Rendon gets the out. Nationals defense now a little change in it.
Yeah, we've made some changes. Crack staff right on top of things. Matt Den Decker goes in He plays left field, moving Worth over to right. Michael Taylor roams in center. Escobar and Desmond, Rendon and Tyler Moore. And Wilson Ramos has caught all 3 games of this series.
Here's Prado. A couple hits in the series. And a fastball spins him off the plate. One of the things that, once Prado got to the 3 spot in the order, a couple things have happened. He started to hit and he started to walk. He's taken a lot of walks, more than he is accustomed to taking.
He's also done a really nice job against Scherzer. 8 for 16 in his career against Scherzer.
Homered against him early this year. And he drives that one to left field. Hits it pretty well. Den Decker won't get it. That bangs off the wall. Prado around first. Good throw by Den Decker. And he's in there with a double. Wow, that's 9 for 17 against Max Scherzer for Martin Prado.
He took care of a big breaking ball. And it really doesn't matter who's in left field. There's a hanger, and that's what's given Scherzer trouble over his last 6-7 starts. Doesn't matter who's in left field. You got to try to get in scoring position. Make the left fielder make a perfect throw. Den Decker's throw was almost perfect, but Martin Prado gets the double.
August 15th is when he moved into the 3 spot, and he's hitting right around 350 in that span. Now Bohr, and he takes low and in. And I don't, sometimes where you hit in the order doesn't count. Sometimes where you hit in the order suddenly sparks you to life, and it certainly has done that with Prado.
It's one of those things you don't have an answer to, because you don't know if he would have stayed as hot hitting in the number 2 spot.
Bohr swings and misses. And there's Scherzer up to 95 with the fastball. It's been fun to watch, though. Prado really has had a nice run over the last month. Another 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, spotted in a perfect place. Scouting report, yeah, he will challenge hitters. Nasty sink to his pitches, and with the ERA going up every month, you wonder if he has any gas left in the tank, if he has a second wind.
Bohr drives it to right and deep, but it's going to hook foul. That was kind of a creative swing by Bohr to get down and in and lift it.
Well, in 20 games in his career against the Nationals, Justin Bohr, .316 hitter with 4 home runs, 3 of those coming this year.
Prado at second. Ramos creeps in. And he got him. 95. Pitch was actually on the outside part. Scherzer and Hand matched up here. with us here on Fox Sports Florida. And today we are going to focus on getting to the major leagues. There's a look at Jim Morris, longtime, extremely successful University of Miami head coach. He will join us in the third inning. Jeff Conine not only has obviously played in the big leagues, but his son just went through high school baseball and being recruited, ended up at Duke. And Desmond ends up being out to open up this second inning. And then Michael Hill, Marlins Vice President of Baseball Operations. There are many ways to get to Major League Baseball. You can go to college. You can obviously sign as a high schooler. And if you're 13 or 14 and you're thinking about baseball, you're playing travel ball, high school, it should be an entertaining ball game to watch. Moms and dads might want to pay attention.
Might have some questions that will be answered today.
We will be peppering Jim Morris with financial aid questions for all you moms and dads out there. Jose Ramos takes down low. And that's the thing in baseball and trying to get to professional baseball. The college route is not easy. Some colleges, almost all of them, limited by the amount of scholarships that the NCAA gives. There is competition from other sports.
One thing I'd like to ask Jim Morris, ask him if he sees down the road maybe that changing a little bit, a few more scholarships for baseball.
Ramos hits a fly ball down the right field line. Ichiro in pursuit, and Ichiro leaps, and he got it.
It's the second time we've seen Ichiro bang up against that wall down the right field line. One of them was out of play. This one, the concentration. There's the leap. Braces himself. Nicely done by Ichiro.
He is like a ballet dancer. A play like that, not easy. At 41, made the catch, took the blow.
Kind of like Batman going from wall to wall.
Spider-Man, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Spider-Man. But with ease and grace.
Brad Hand has a couple quick outs here in the second. Ichiro 3 hits yesterday and a start with D. Gordon getting the game off. Ichiro in the leadoff spot and in right. Ozuna in center, Yelich in left. Taylor takes out. It's certainly a tough pill to swallow for the Nationals and what's happened over the last week. I think the further they get from the season, this guy is going to be one of the bright spots where they look at and say, this is the year that Michael Taylor got a chance to play and was able to take advantage and have some big moments. Rips one into left field for a hit. Taylor's got good speed. Yelich gets it in quickly. Fox Sports Supports, proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens through programs that promote character, leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. Visit foxsportsupports.com. Boys and Girls Clubs certainly are a help in youth sports. Commissioner Rob Manfred at the very start of the season talked about baseball doing a better job of getting kids who don't have the financial means to play travel ball, go to all the showcases, remove the financial hurdles for athletes that want to pursue baseball and don't end up pursuing other sports because of that. Andrew McCutcheon, we've said this many times, Andrew McCutcheon wrote that terrific article in the Players Tribune early in the year documenting his plight, how he was going to play football until he broke his leg and ended up choosing baseball while growing up in Central Florida.
Say another former major leaguer who's been a strong proponent, Doug Glanville. Brad Hand doing what he needs to try to keep Taylor close. Taylor has 15 stolen bases. The guy you have to be careful with, Tyler Moore. He hasn't had that everyday opportunity at the big league level, but some seasons, actually back-to-back seasons in the minor leagues where he hit 31 home runs each year.
Mississippi State product. Little nuance to that throw over to first. You saw Justin Bohr aggressively coming at the ball, and little by little Bohr has improved his play defensively at first, and that's imperative with a speedy runner with a lefty. Who is leaning and starts and stops, and Moore blasts it to center. Ozuna on the run makes the catch. Brad Hand, 2 scoreless. Marlins and Nationals. I love his game face. That smile.
Great looking family, good looking kid. Yeah, thumbs up.
Very nice. Maybe they will take a photo and tweet it, and he could be the strongest fan photo of the game. Hashtag it. FL Day to Strong Fan is brought to you by T-Mobile. He wants a run, Tommy. I think he's waiting for a run here.
Got the game face on there.
He's got the sweet lid. Good jersey. Ozuna, after the first pitch, a breaking ball. Desmond ventures into the outfield and makes the catch. And Max Scherzer has an out on 1 pitch here in the 2nd inning.
A lot of teams, and it doesn't take long. And to me, if there's anything that has stood out in this series about Marcell Ozuna and his at-bats, he just has to be more patient. Too many first balls. I'm not opposed at first ball hitting, but too many first balls that he hits and he doesn't hit well. And we've seen it a few times in this series, and that's something he really needs to work on to just take that next step.
Derek Dietrich now. Dietrich getting the start at second. Dietrich involved in a collision back in that first inning with Bryce Harper. Harper was on the bases. Harper was down on the field for a good 2 to 3 minutes. Helped up left on his own power, and we are awaiting word from the Nationals clubhouse. That one trickles over the middle. Rendon gets it to first, and we check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, Miguel Rojas coming up to the plate has come a long way hitting wise. Last year was his first over 300 in the minors, and he was way below that in years prior. And one of the reasons he told me was he's put on a lot of weight and muscle. Actually, in the media guide, they still have him listed at 150. Derek Dietrich's been joking about it in Atlanta. They put it up big on the bulletin on the scoreboard at 150. He's actually 200 pounds. But what was the key from turning it around? A lot of baseball. Played a full season at AA in 13. Dodgers kept him sharp in the Arizona League in case they needed him for a playoff run. Then he went right to winter ball, which ran into January. Then a developmental camp in LA with the Dodgers. He wanted to go because the prospects were there. And then right to camp. So he said, I got a lot of baseball, more than I ever had. And my timing started to come. And with that extra weight, he said, I'm not a home run hitter, but I can pull a ball now down on, if I get a pitch inside, I can pull a ball with some authority to left field or go to right field instead of just being a slap hitter.
Well, Craig, that's certainly a compliment to him that he could put on weight while playing all that baseball.
It really is amazing to put 50 pounds on. You'll see in some stadiums, you go on this trip, you'll probably see 6 foot 150.
Oh, we just saw it. We just saw it when he came to the plate, Craig, his banner, which is computer generated from Major League Baseball, same as the scoreboard. It spits out 150.
Yeah, well, they're 50 off.
That's why the guys get on him all the time.
They love it. Dietrich heard me talking about it. He's going, yeah, 150, 150. Are you kidding?
I'm hopeful that when I come on camera, it spits out 150.
Me too.
There it is, 6 feet.
There it is. 150. Cross it out, Tommy. Do you have the? Cross it out if you've got the.
Yeah, we'll do that.
The telestrator.
Yeah, we'll cross that out like that.
3-2 to Rojas. Scherzer got him. Max Scherzer, a 1-2-3 seconds. Scoreless, Miami and Washington. I guess for kids out there and teenagers that are into baseball and want to play in the major leagues, this is kind of developmental day. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton, and you know this gentleman, longtime coach, 23rd year at the University of Miami, a couple national championships. Congratulations on getting back to the College World Series, Jim Morris.
Thank you. It was a great feeling to get back. I tell you, we weren't there for a few years, and when I first got here, we were there every year, so it really makes me appreciate that more.
Yeah. All right, the Marlins and the Nationals, Miami facing Max Scherzer. That's not easy. And getting to the big leagues is not easy, but you've helped a ton of guys, both at Miami and I guess at Georgia Tech, get to the big leagues. How has that changed? How has that process and the path changed from your first year some 40 years ago or so as a college head coach?
Well, it's changed dramatically because, first of all, there used to be a winter draft, and we used to have 22 scholarships. So start with that. So now we have 11.7. So it did away with the winter draft. Thank goodness. You could take a guy freshman year, sophomore year, anytime. Now it's just after his junior year. So you know if a guy comes to Miami or a Division I school, he's going to stay for 3 years. So that's a huge change, and it's more guys are even with the change with the draft and the slot system has changed it too. More guys are going to college.
Do you see down the road, Coach? Do you see it changing? Maybe back. I know you'd love to have a few more scholarships. Do you see that changing back at all?
You know, I really don't, because I wish we did, but there's not enough schools in America that bring enough income, and the presidents are the one that are voting on that, and they're looking at bottom budgets, and bottom budgets today is they've got to meet that budget. And until we can get enough programs to really support that type of situation, then I really don't see it changing.
One of the changes in college baseball that I've heard Major League scouts say is a positive is the change in bats over the last 4 years. I think it is that the bats are more regulated. They're closer to the wood bats, and scouts feel it's easier to evaluate talent, and players are closer to Major League ready because of it when they leave. You agree with that?
I do agree with it. The bats were so hot back in the late 90s with Burrow and Huff and Michaels and all those guys that played in the big leagues a long time. They were hitting balls over our lights.
Those guys made them hot anyway.
They did. They did. And today, I think they're pretty equal, really, and I like that. They kind of backed them off too much in a way you couldn't score any runs, and now they've changed it a little bit where the bats jump a little bit more, and I think it's pretty much like a wood bat, and I like that.
Brad Hand facing Anthony Rendon. Counts 3-0.
Coach, what are some of your main objectives when you get a kid in at University of Miami? Obviously as a baseball player, but as a student athlete as well. I know that's important.
Well, you know, when I first started coaching, I was a head coach in college at the age of 24 and in the spring, and really 23 in the fall. And I thought my job was to develop guys for Major League Baseball, professional baseball. And the real deal is that I need to prepare them for both. And 95% of our guys are not going to play in the big leagues. So really the most important thing is the education. So we got to do the best we can to prepare our guys to graduate and to go to pro ball. And 2 years ago, we had more. The previous years, we had more guys in the big leagues than anybody. Last year, we had the highest grade point average in the World Series. The year before that, our graduation rate was 1,000. So I think we're doing a pretty good job in both. And you got to a unique situation, private school, getting guys ready for everything.
So much has changed. I was a college baseball player myself. Tommy, you're a father of a couple of college players. So much has changed in terms of the 13, 14, 15-year-old, even the high school players. There's a liner in the center field. Escobar has a hit. Rendon going station to station arrives at second. What has that done to A, college recruiting for you, and B, pro scout, where now it's, I don't want to say it's almost exclusive to certain athletes, but it really is. Over the last, I want to say 10 to 12 years, specialization has crept in, and the whole travel ball sensation has taken over.
Well, you're right, and it's amazing. Guys, particularly down here in South Florida, and I can't say the whole country, probably the whole country are playing one sport, and they're developing doing that. And kids at the age of 15, 16 are playing more games than we are as college, which my biggest concern is protecting the guy's arms and pitchers. It's good, hitting is like playing the piano. The more you practice, the more you play, the better you get. That's my opinion. But pitchers, you got a certain number of pitches. Recruiting's changed because kids are committing at an early age. It's kind of got out of hand almost too early. But the real deal is that you got to deal with it. If kids going to want to commit at the age of 15, 16-year-olds, then you got to figure out how to do it.
What's the youngest kid that committed to Miami?
Ninth grade. That's too early. That's too early. You're talking about a guy playing 5 years later for you.
Yeah. Marcelo Zuna in to make the catch. Okay, if I'm sitting at home, I'm a mom or a dad, or I'm a 14 or a 15-year-old kid who's just getting into high school. I do play some travel ball and all that. What's the best advice that you can give them if I have aspirations of playing not only in college but playing here in the major leagues?
Well, I think number one is, if you got a certain school you're really interested in, make sure you let them know that. And you write them or call them. When you write them, you write, "Dear Coach Morris," not "Dear Coach." Sent to 100 schools. Because if I write a guy back and say, "Dear recruit, you're the best," it's kind of the same thing. To show a special interest, go to a camp at that school if that's the one you're interested in. Go to the showcases. Make sure that that you go to the showcases where the college coaches and the pro guys are there, where they'll get to see you play, and make sure they do what they have to do academically. Because I assure you, my first question every time when I see a player is, "Tell me what do we like. Tell me what your grades are. Tell me what your SAT or ACT is." Prepare yourself to go wherever there's a scholarship and wherever we're recruiting you.
Now, if I'm an athlete that plays multiple sports, but I like baseball, this day and age, a lot of coaches push guys away from the other sports. How do you handle that if I'm 15 and I play all 3 sports?
Well, you know what? Gosh, I don't know anybody who plays all 3 sports. Maybe a couple sports today, but it's tough. We got one kid on our team, Malik Rozier, that's a quarterback and baseball player, and it's really even hard for him at this level. But I think if you can decide, well, my best sport is baseball, or my best sport is football, or at your school you can do that. Some of the high schools, they won't let them play more than one sport.
Yeah, you just saw D. Gordon. He was a terrific basketball player up in the Orlando area. Brad Hand, an outstanding hockey player up in Minnesota as well. Giancarlo Stanton played 3 sports in high school.
Yelich played 1.
Yes, that's true.
We signed him.
How did that process go? Because I know you guys recruited Christian Yelich before he signed.
Yeah, he did. We signed Christian out of L.A. He's out of that area, and very good student, a good player. And I thought he would come to school. He really blossomed his senior year, and a great kid that we still stay in contact. And of course, he's doing a great job for you guys.
I like the touch of you guys having him down to throw out a first pitch.
Yeah, that was fun. He set up the box. And he's got a little bit of Miami in him. That, of course, in the other dugout, we got Gio Gonzalez, the guy that signed out of high school, too. We got a lot of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
We need those guys.
You can probably count a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
And that's, for you, that's any major program that has success, you're going to run into that, right? You are recruiting guys that are also being eyed in the early rounds of the draft.
You're right. We sign them, and that's just part of the game. I've been doing it a long time. We've been fortunate to a lot of guys come to school, but a lot of guys sign, and they got to make that decision, and which is another decision. I wish that these players could be more educated to the system. Very, very tough situation for kids that come out of high school. They're drafted in the 5th round, whether they go to school or not go to school, or the 10th round or whatever in that area, and their parents really don't understand professional baseball. They don't have any families that have ever been in professional baseball. They don't understand the system. They don't understand how hard it is, and the top picks all have guys representing them, and they're educated more to the system what's best for them to do.
2-1 pitch to Worth. On Marlins Live pregame, Coach Fitzgerald of Stoneman Douglas was our guest. And he's got a couple of Miami commits. He's had a nice run at Stoneman Douglas and here in South Florida.
Well, he has. I mean, he's done a good job, and no question we follow him and try to recruit his guys. And we try to get all the good guys down here that we possibly can. We can't get them all, but we try.
This is good. We've gotten through almost 15 minutes. There's been no NCAA violation in terms of, it's very difficult. You can't talk about certain players. And as a coach, and I hear this from football coaches and basketball coaches and baseball coaches, you can't talk about certain players and say, I really like this guy, or boy, he's got a great arm.
You're right. I can't name the name.
That's right.
Unless they've signed with us. I can only confirm that maybe we're recruiting someone, but I can't say, well, this is the guy we're going after and we're trying to sign him, and he's got great talent and all those type things. I mentioned that the high school is good.
All right, I'll get general then. I'll be general, so
Okay.
we'll have no violations here. I'm sure you're as proud of your guys who have gone on, your guys who have gotten to the major leagues, but I would guarantee you're just as proud of the guys who have graduated, become successful in businesses in the area, and I'm sure you keep in touch with them as well.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, we've got doctors, lawyers, aerospace engineers, chemical engineers, business guys like Luis Hernandez that went to Miami, played 1 year minor leagues, and went and got his MBA at Harvard. Has helped us a lot in our program, and a very good friend, and it's great to see how all the guys are doing. It's fun to see them. Some of them come back sooner than others, but maybe you don't see a guy for 5, 6, 7 years, and he walks back in with his son.
If you could change one thing about the recruiting process, whether it be with college and pros, what's the one thing you'd change?
Well, I would make it possible for anybody that should go to college to go to college. So that means that kind of puts the money thing together, but I think most kids should go to college and go from there. And it's part of maturing mentally and physically to get ready. And I know the pro guys, understand certain things too. And it's a tough evaluation, and most guys should go to college and make that possible so they could if they're that type of student.
You see the ball strike ratio this inning, 19 pitches, 13 balls. All of a sudden, Brad Hand has kind of wobbled here. Bags are loaded, and he's 3-0 against a dangerous hitter in Ian Desmond.
Get you in trouble. I know that. Any level.
Did you watch a kid like Desmond over in Sarasota? He was over in Sarasota.
Yeah, we have, and we recruited Sarasota High School and got some guys out of there. And but most of it, we stay in South Florida. Most of our players, 80% of them are approximately from down here.
Hand walks him, and the Nationals are on the board first. A bases loaded walk to Ian Desmond, and a run comes across. And Chuck Hernandez on his way out to the mound to try to calm down his left-hander.
There's a lot of talk, and I know the new commissioner of baseball has really tried to create more of this. But again, I think it's the scholarship thing to get more black kids, African-American kids involved in college baseball.
Whereas I probably got a reputation. We always have some black players. Whether it's at Georgia Tech or here, we've got 4 or 5 guys right now, and it's just I don't know. I don't know how that's worked out exactly, but it's worked out, and we need to get some of those kids to look. And the scholarship situation in college is you get full scholarships in football, you get full scholarships in basketball, whereas baseball, I haven't given a full baseball scholarship in 23 years.
And you're at a disadvantage to the public institutions because your tuition, if I get half a scholarship to Miami, I'm still on the hook for a pretty good amount of money, more so than if I go to a public school.
You're right. I mean, tuition, book fees, room and board is approximately $64,000. So it's a big price tag.
Well, here's what gets me, and I've always thought that I always wondered about this. If Major League Baseball benefits from drafting college players, why can't Major League Baseball fund a couple, maybe 3 scholarships
to that
for each Division I school, and make some of those for minority kids that don't have the money, not just for college, kids that don't have the money for showcases, kids that don't have the money for travel ball. That to me, that makes too much sense.
Well, it does, and sometimes it's. I've been in some of those meetings with the pro guys and got different committees, and at the end of the day, the pro guys like to sign the good players.
Right. And
of course, we want them to come to school. And the sooner they get them out playing pro ball, the sooner they think they're going to go to the big leagues. Which I understand that philosophy, but a majority of kids that are in the big leagues went to college. So I think the college programs nationwide are doing a pretty good job too, along with the pro organizations. But to me, a big part of it is maturing physically and mentally in college to prepare you to be able to handle situations.
If a kid coach is thinking about a JUCO, what do you feel about that?
You know what? That's fine. I mean, of course, I'd rather him come to me, but
right.
we recruit some JUCO guys, and I want you a JUCO, and went to a small school in North Carolina called Elon College. Elon University signed to turn that one, and then went back to school. Got my master's at Appalachian, and I went to Georgia for my PhD. So you can do both, and that's what I tell every player we're recruiting.
Elon College, a good place for Jack McKeon, along with Jim Morris. Coach, congratulations on a great career, getting back to the College World Series, and thanks for the insight on this.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
Jim Morris, head coach, University of Miami. Nationals on the board and up 1-0. at Marlins Park is by placing a deposit for 2016. Call 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/tickets. All-Star Week events, All-Star Game in 2017. Jose Fernandez figurine is the giveaway today. Jeff Mathis against Max Scherzer. And while Brad Hand took a walk on the wild side in the top of this third, Max Scherzer has looked sharp and has given up just a hit in his 2 innings of work.
Kind of laughing when the inning ended. It didn't take long for Coach Morris to take a peek into the Nationals TV booth and see former Hurricane F.P. Santangelo.
There are, what he had, of 137 players drafted in his tenure. 1-2 to Mathis. You got Brad Hand and Ichiro up in the third. Mathis shoots one into right field. That's a hit. Jeff Mathis is aboard with a leadoff single. There is F.P. Santangelo, former Hurricane,
working with our good friend Bob Carpenter on Nationals TV.
He talked about 80% South Florida recruits. One area that's been really good for Miami, and FP is from that area, Sacramento, California. Always seems to be a player or two from that area that has excelled at Miami. Hand, a very good bunter this year. And he'll try to move Mathis up. Counts 0-1. Sunday in baseball, Jim Morris was very good. Michael Hill will be our guest as well. Jeff Conine coming by the 5th inning. His son Griffin just went through the whole recruiting process and ended up at Duke. Now lives in a tent trying to get basketball tickets in Krzyzewskiville. Out at first. A nice bunt by Brad Hand. Actually, Griffin's in the dorms. Toyota Trent. Marlins have won 4 consecutive series, and they could get a sweep today. 3-game sweeps of Washington. A dozen. The Marlins had great success against the Nationals for about a 3 or a 4 year period. Nationals over the last couple of seasons have come close to evening the score, but you know, Miami actually has won 8 of the 14 games this year.
Yeah, they've played them well this year in Washington and here in Miami.
Ichiro takes a rip, and it's 0-1. 86 hits this year for Ichiro. He is 70 shy of 3,000. And he pops that one up. Second time he's popped it up on the infield. Moore makes the play. And it's up to Yelich to keep this inning going.
It's been an interesting year for Max Scherzer. We talked about the stretch he's on. Last 7 starts, an ERA over 6, but threw a no-hitter back on June 20th. Had 10 strikeouts in that no-hitter, and the game that he threw before the no-hitter, a complete game with 16 strikeouts.
Which was a one-hitter.
Which was a one-hitter.
That was against Milwaukee. And the team he no-hit was Pittsburgh.
So some good hitting clubs.
In fact, Pittsburgh, one of the stories of the weekend in baseball, has narrowed the margin in the Central. Amazingly, Pittsburgh is 2.5 games behind the Cardinals Remember, the Cardinals had such a big lead in May and June, and everyone said, oh, that race is done. And all the other races were tight, especially the East. Yelich pulls it foul. Now the Nationals are 9.5 back in the East, and in the Central, it's tightened to 2.5 games, and the Cubs are 5.5 back.
And of course, the Cardinals losing 2 games to Cincinnati yesterday, and the Reds have a 1-0 lead in the 4th inning today.
And Pittsburgh, who got a grand slam from Michael Morse, won yesterday and are scoreless against Milwaukee, and that's in Pittsburgh. It's just underway. That's 1st inning. One of the other stories this weekend, Troy Tulowitzki and the injury fielding that pop-up. A slight break in the shoulder blade, left shoulder blade. They're still trying to determine how long he will be out. Regardless of that, the Blue Jays swept the Yankees in a doubleheader yesterday, pushed their lead to 4.5 games, and those two teams are in the bottom of the 3rd at Yankee Stadium, 2-0. Yankees on top.
One of the good stories in baseball yesterday, Big Papi reached the 500 home run plateau. 4th Dominican player to get to 500 home runs. Sammy Sosa, Manny Ramirez, Albert Pujols.
John Chimchuk, our baseball historian, notes that on June 29th, the Cardinals had a 9-game lead in their division. Of course, last week, I guess what, 6 days ago, the Nationals were 4 back, and they're 9.5 back now. It's a good at bat by Yelich. He sprayed balls to the opposite side. He's pulled pitches to the right side. Just about everything that Scherzer has thrown up there to nibble at a corner, Yelich has fought off. He missed that one, though. Breaking ball from Scherzer gets the strikeout and ends Miami's 3rd. To the 4th, 1-0 Nationals.
to always play at the next level and beyond. And for me, obviously, pro ball was something that I always dreamed of as a kid and child. I just don't think I was quite ready to take that step from high school to pro ball. So Oregon State had called and took a visit there. I loved everything about the campus. It was close to home.
He would go on to win a national championship for the Oregon State Beavers. Cole Gillespie has enjoyed this season, getting a chance to play here in Miami. Beavers actually won 2 national championships. Gillespie part of that first one. Brad Hand had some difficulties with the strike zone in the third. He walked 3, including 1 with the bags loaded. Michael Taylor, Taylor Moore, Max Scherzer. In the fourth, Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini. John Sulzer is our producer. Gary Nicholas, our critically acclaimed director. Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. The aforementioned John Chimchuk is our baseball historian, who is on call today.
Listening to Cole Gillespie just reminds me of something that Coach Fitzgerald talked about on Marlins Live with Craig and Jeff Conine, coaching at Stoneman Douglas, a high school. The importance of a high school kid, and you'll want to bring this up in front of a Coach Morris because he wants everybody to come to Miami. Miami isn't suited for everybody, and I think a young kid has to go where he thinks he's going to have the best opportunity to play, be it a Division I or Division II.
And Gillespie growing up in the Northwest, Oregon State an emerging program at that time, and so that certainly was the right place. I hear you. That's as a college athlete going through the process, you can go to a bigger school and get lost in the numbers. And this is with any sport. I see it with football and basketball and in baseball. There are some kids that grow up, I want to play for this school. And sometimes that school will not afford you the chance to play.
And if your desire is to play beyond college, scouts are never going to see you if you don't play. So that's the importance of just going somewhere where you just know you're going to have the best opportunity to play.
Tyler Moore takes the strike. And the count is 0-1. Michael Taylor's at first. Moore, big, strong Mississippi State product. Drilled one to deep center that Ozuna caught. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready tomorrow night. Citi Field. Fish take on the first place Mets. Craig Minervini joined by Carl Pavano.
Not a good ratio overall, about half and half balls to strikes, and you just can't pitch consistently at this level against a good team, guys who swing the bat well and walk as many guys. Brad Hand has walked 4 to this point. He started off really good. The first couple of innings looked like he was in a nice groove.
One, two. In the dirt, Mathis has to knock it down. Couple of notes following up the Troy Tulowitzki injury. The Blue Jays today have said they're cautiously optimistic that Tulowitzki will be able to return in 2 to 3 weeks from what they say is a crack in his left shoulder blade.
Wow. That is optimistic.
Bouncer, Prado can't get it. It's into left field. Moore has the hit. And that gives Scherzer the opportunity to bunt both runners up. Also today, Blue Jays needed some insurance up the middle. They acquired Darwin Barney from the Dodgers, who can play both shortstop and second base, and was a teammate of Cole Gillespie's at Oregon State.
We'll have to let Cole Gillespie know that when we get on the plane to New York tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, it's when you look at the job that Tulowitzki, he was doing fine. He wasn't over the top. He wasn't doing what Cespedes is doing for the Mets. But just as a group, all of a sudden, his presence brought everything together with Bautista, with Encarnacion. And he was giving the Blue Jays some solid defense at shortstop as well.
Well, Brad Hand has thrown 62 pitches right down the middle with balls and strikes, 31 apiece. And that is a recipe for a long day for a starter.
Well, no, it's a recipe for a short day for a starter, a long day for everybody else. That's what it's a recipe for. And to be honest, it's hard to play behind a guy like Brad Hand.
That's a foul ball. Jeff Mathis, just in case, not only tagged the runner, but then threw down to third. That ball was in the batter's box. That's a spot in the batter's box too, Tommy, where the baseline is not there. So you're having, as an umpire, to extend that baseline to the corner of the plate in your mind.
But a heads-up play by Jeff Mathis. Heads-up play to tag Scherzer and then go to third base with the throw. Had the ball been fair, it would have been a double play. But trust me, it's much easier to play behind a guy like Jose Fernandez than a guy like Brad Hand, because he works quickly. He's energetic on the mound.
Scherzer with a count 0-2. A walk to Taylor, a single by Moore. Nationals got a run on 3 walks and a single in the third. Good bunt, Hand on to first to get the out. Successful sacrifice, and now Hand has to deal with Anthony Rendon and Yunel Escobar. The Carolina Ale House in Weston on Tuesday night is a Modelo Especial Marlins watch party. 7:10 start. Marlins and Mets. You can win tickets to upcoming games. Raffle prizes. Yeah, Billy will be there. The Energy team will be doing flips off the bar. Take advantage of specials on Modelo throughout the game. Rendon has singled and walked. Infield's back with 1 out. Although Prado has crept in at third. If Rendon can spray a ground ball past the mound, Washington will have their second run. You got good speed at third too with Michael Taylor. Marlins and Mets tomorrow night. Matt Harvey is not scheduled in the series. Cracked into left field. That's a base hit. Taylor will score. Moore to third. And Anthony Rendon has his second hit. Nationals have their second run.
Well, the 2 runs that have scored both walks. So those seem to get you in trouble every time.
Dan Jennings on his way out to the mound. And Jose Urena ready to answer this call to the bullpen, which is brought to you by Kendall Toyota. On this pleasant Sunday in Miami is presented by the authority of the Marlins. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Jose Urena finishing his warm-up tosses.
Well, Urena comes in to try to just restore things. Plenty of time left, and the Nationals just have a 2-run lead. Remember, the Marlins bullpen in this series, 8 innings, has allowed just 1 run, and it was an unearned run. So here's where the dilemma is. That's 8 innings in 2 games. Today, the bullpen's going to have to go 5 2/3. That's way too much on those guys down there. And, you know, you're going to have to kind of rotate. I'm sure there are a couple of guys that might not be available. Brian Morris probably isn't available today. 2 innings in the ballgame last night.
Kyle Barraclough, who pitched last night. Barraclough
back-to-back games.
Also pitching an inning on Friday night. Here's Escobar, who struck out and singled. At the corners with 1 out, middle infield looking for 2. And Urena breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 0-1. Remember, it's not Harper behind Escobar, it's Matt Den Decker.
The one thing with Urena coming in, because he's been a starter, you know you have the opportunity, if he throws the ball well, to get a few innings out of Jose Urena.
There is Den Decker. Pitch is down low. Two balls, two strikes. Bryce Harper, the information we were able to glean from the Nationals PR department, he left the game for precautionary reasons. Full count to Escobar. He missed. And so Urania loads the bases. Now he gets Den Decker. Bullpen last night, Tommy, you talked about Brian Morris's outstanding 2 innings. A.J. Ramos picked up save number 27. And a great matchup between Lazo and Harper.
Yeah, it was one that I loved. Just the fact that he's a young kid who's making his 3rd appearance. The previous 2, as you like to say, were soft landings. This one was not. He was facing Bryce Harper, and he threw him a 3-2 changeup.
I do like to say that, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Here's Den Decker, and he swings and misses. Matt Den Decker, the small D to start his name on the back of his jersey. Did the Mets lead the National League or the majors in guys with small Ds?
Absolutely. DeGrom, Den Decker, and d'Arnaud.
And there was one day where I think Lucas Duda tried to go small D, but he was not allowed to join that club. Little tapper, Urania, a flip to Mathis to get the outs. And that's a big out to get, especially at the plate. It chokes off a run, and now there's 2 outs.
Well, it makes it an easy decision and an easy play for Urania. A little flip right to Jeff Mathis. Only play was there. Good 2-seamer. Ball had some really good sink to it.
So it's Worth with the bags loaded. He's bounced out and walked. The Mets, by the way, have a 2-1 lead over Atlanta.
Got a 2-run homer from Mike Conforto.
That's in the bottom of the 3rd. He's a great example of when we were talking to Coach Morris from the University of Miami about the new bats in college and how college hitters seem to be closer to Major League ready than ever before. A guy like Conforto, Stephen Piscotty, that's out of Stanford, and certainly a big help to the St. Louis Cardinals. Two and 1. 3 1/3 for Brad Hand. 5 hits so far, just the 2 runs. Right down the middle and line back up the box into center field. Ozuna's throw to the plate, just 1 run scores. But Worth gives Washington a 3-0 lead. That was center cut, and Worth stayed on it and drilled it to center.
Pretty much center cut on the pitch and center cut on where he placed that line drive.
Desmond, bags loaded. And he takes a mighty rip and pops it up. Bohr makes the catch. And the inning is over. But 2 more for the Nationals, a 3-0 lead. Jason Worth, an RBI hit.
For our Coors Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by our fast brewed Coors Light. Talking about times of games. The average time for 9-inning game around Major League Baseball, 2 hours 53 minutes. The 5th shortest. This is for Marlins in Major League Baseball. But the last 2 games, for some reason, just 2 hours and 45 minutes, and the Marlins won both games, 2-0. As we're, an hour and a half in almost to a game in the bottom of the 4th. Now, Tommy, I don't know that Rich has anything to do with it. I'm not implying that. But we did have some tidy games the last couple of nights here.
Nice snappy 2 hours and 28 minutes last night.
If any of us had anything to do with it, we would all move to Las Vegas and be very, very wealthy.
You had to be jealous, Rich, though, when you look, you're doing a football, you look at the time of the game in the bottom of that box going, what? I don't get those 2 hour, 20-minute, 8-minute games.
No, look, hey, we are the luckiest people on this planet. We are getting paid to watch a baseball game. So if it takes 3 hours, 3.5, well, 3.5 stretching. Into right, Worth giving chase, and he makes a catch. It's a nice play by Jason Worth, and that robs Martin Prado of his 2nd extra base hit of the day.
Well, and you have the polar opposite in Max Scherzer, who's just pounding the strike zone. Got some tremendous help from his veteran outfielder, Jason Worth. That long reach, 6'5" frame, helped him put it away.
But Craig, I will say all the reviews I heard were very good. You did a fine job of filling in. Hope you had fun.
A lot of fun. We get 2 great ball games, well pitched, and enjoyed pinch hitting for you, Rich.
Yeah.
And had a lot of fun with T-Hut that you get to have every night. But really, that guy with Jose pitching and the bullpen work, some clutch hits, nice job. By the way, Jose was trying to get in the way of our shot before. He's very camera savvy.
Well, Well, that's good for you to work him into the story, though.
That's right.
That helps. Justin Bour with 1 out and a 1-1 count. The numbers for Jose: 16-0 with a 1.11 ERA at Marlins Park. Ties the major league record for home wins to start a career. Lamar Hoyt, the last to do it. Into left, and then Decker on a hop has to knock it down. So a hit for 4. If you just took Jose, look, the home thing is incredible. 16-0, an ERA of 1.11. All of his starts in his career, 44 of them, his ERA is 2.21.
And in those 44 starts, a 21-8 record. So there was a time that pitchers would have 40, 44 starts a year. So that would be a good, solid year. 21-8.
Yeah, that wasn't long ago. Now Ozuna went after the first pitch, which was a breaking ball in the second, and popped out. Does not chase Scherzer's first pitch, a breaking ball here.
Five years with the Tigers, Max Scherzer. And some were surprised at the length of the contract he received, because this year Max Scherzer's 31. He'll be 32 next year. And his arm has thrown a lot of pitches.
This is year 1 of a 7-year, $210 million contract. 105 of it, so half of it is actually deferred 2022 through 2028 at no interest. So this won't end up being a was it Bobby Bonilla contract,
who gets what, a couple $1 million every year. It's not quite like our retirement plan that we worked into our deal.
Wait a minute, you got retirement in your deal? Now you tell me. 2-2. Jim Morris was our guest. Jeff Conine will be stopping by. Our theme today on this Kids Sunday is getting to the big leagues, the pathways to get there. How do you prepare when you hit high school? If you're playing summer ball, if you want to play college ball, what's the best plan of attack? Michael Hill also will be by in the 7th inning. Michael Hill, a college player at Harvard. Jeff Conine, a college player at UCLA. Hit hard, Rendon flips, and Desmond turns it. And a hard hit, 4-6-3 double play off the bat of Marcell Ozuna. All Nationals, all Max Scherzer. And a 3-0 lead here. Mary's, a little George Mason, Georgia Tech, Washington State, Western Florida up there, Texas Tech, Oregon, Stony Brook, Nova Southeastern, and Oregon State. Joining us now, Jeff Conine, a UCLA Bruin. The oddity is, you went there as a pitcher, you didn't hit much, and you ended up getting drafted in the, I want to say, the 175th round?
Something like that, yeah. And not hit much. I got one at bat in 3 years of college.
Hey, the first question, I don't know if I know this answer, as long as I've known you. How did you choose, how did UCLA get into the picture?
Well, it was a late recruiting for me. I pitched in an all-star game after my senior season was over. And the head coach at UCLA, Gary Adams at the time, happened to be at that all-star game, saw me pitch 3 innings. And he called me the next day and offered me a scholarship.
Wow. Did you get a full ride at the time? And that was back when they had more than the 11 or 12 scholarships they've got now.
Correct. I got partial my first year and then full ride my sophomore and junior year.
Those were the gravy days of
not anymore.
The gravy days, yeah. Wow. It's going through it with my son. Recently, it's definitely not gravy anymore.
Now, and that's why we've got you here. One, because we like you. 2, because your son just went through that. Now, you dropped him off at Duke, I assume, here over the last month.
August 18th. Yeah, he went up there August 18th, started class the 24th. They just had their first practice, first full squad workout this week.
Any tears shed, or do you say, Mom and Dad see you?
Well, yes, tears were shed, mostly by my wife, but we haven't heard from him yet, so hopefully he's doing fine. I don't know.
He doesn't need money yet.
Not yet, exactly. We will hear from him when he needs something, but other than that, he's doing great. He loves it up there.
How did that process go? I'm sure different colleges were interested. How did it all come down?
Yeah, it was I had no clue about the whole college recruiting process at all, and we had people advise us on what to do and the videos to get out there and the showcases to go to and the summer teams to play on, and you know, with all that exposure, a great high school coach that helped out as well. All that helped get a lot of interest, so we had a lot of choices to choose from.
By the way, I think that's important, and I think there are a lot of really good high school coaches here in South Florida, and I think that's really important for the kids to get the exposure.
Phenomenal. That's huge importance because they see them every single day and they know them better than anybody else. When you go to a showcase, you'll have 3 or 4 at bats with a 2-1 count, just because you're trying to get every kid through the mill, so to speak, and get seen by all these college coaches. But the high school guys are the ones that see them on an everyday basis.
What advice would you have for a parent of a 15, 16-year-old baseball player right now?
I would say be persistent without being bothersome to the coaches. You need to get a recruiting video done, show your kid doing everything that they can do. Outfield play, if he's a position player, outfield play.
Homework.
Homework. Yes, get them down at the desk and see how their penmanship. And, but every aspect of the game, you need to get a good quality recruiting video done. Not too long. We were told if it's over 5 minutes, the coaches will stop watching. So 3-minute video that you can send to a list of colleges that you desire to go to.
Much like was it Cespedes or Puig that had the Christopher Cross music on his?
I think it was Cespedes.
I think it was Cespedes, yeah.
Coming out of Cuba, his agent actually put that together. Here's a 2-0 pitch to Max Scherzer. Taps it to short. Rojas has it. Fires to first. Stick around, Jeff Conine. We got more to talk about when we return. Right now, Nationals up 3-0. Marlins. But two guys watching the ball game. Randi Vision Cam. One of them gets a ball. Oh, isn't that cool? Yeah. Look how happy he is now. Look at his brother. No, he's not happy. Dad gave him a high five.
I think we need to get Craig down there and get another ball to his brother.
I think so. Now,
and we're assuming they're brothers.
Now the other brothers actually moved away from him.
Yeah.
I love how he's tapping the ball in his glove and looking at him, looking at his brother. Look what I got.
That's only going to keep the simmer going, isn't it? Jeff Conine is with us. Derek Dietrich takes breaking ball for a strike. Why Duke? Why did you decide on Duke? Was it the coaches? Was it the school?
It was a little bit of everything. My son was recruited by some very good academic institutions early on. A lot of Ivy Leagues were actually interested. And he felt he wanted a little better baseball than the Ivy League. So,
wait. Don't say that when Michael Hill comes up.
Oh, I will definitely say that when Michael Hill comes up.
Did you allow him to make that decision? Did you let Griffin kind of make that choice?
Yeah, he was actually heavily recruited by Columbia early on, and he really liked their program. The coach was outstanding. And I think if that coach would have pushed a little harder for him to make a commitment, he might have. But he waited, and some other colleges got in the mix, and it came down to Rice, Duke, and Wake Forest, all excellent academic schools and all excellent baseball programs. But when we visited Rice, I was very impressed with that coach and the coaching staff, and they made a good offer. And he was like, basically, I'm going to Rice. And my wife and I said, hey, there's a couple more schools you might want to look at, Duke and Wake Forest. So we planned a trip up there. And after, he said, all right, we'll go up there just to eliminate them, basically. And after we got done with our recruiting visit at Duke, I didn't say a word the whole time I looked over at him. I said, what'd you think? He goes, wow, that place is awesome. And the coaching staff, everybody was excellent. And by the end of the day, he ranked him Duke, Wake Forest, and Rice. He told us he's going to Rice.
So obviously he gets his classroom
here it comes. I've only heard this 150,
Cindy,
160 times.
Cindy,
yes,
correct.
of course.
Yes, he does. Hey, you know what's funny? Everybody says this about colleges, and I didn't go to colleges. I signed out of high school, but even if a kid is not an athlete, when they get to that one that just they like, it just jumps out to them.
It really does, and it's a perfect fit for him. He absolutely loves it. He did some summer school. Classes up there. The facilities are fantastic, and obviously the Duke tradition of athletics is pretty amazing.
I made a joke that he's living in a tent in Krzyzewski.
Yeah. That starts in January, by the way.
He's trying to get Niner tickets to a basketball game.
Rojas pops out, and there are 2 outs. Okay, in the process, you've given advice to parents. If you could change a thing or two about the process, what would you do, having gone through it? Anything about it?
You know what? Since my wife and I were so clueless in the whole process, we got started kind of late. I think it worked out perfectly that we didn't put that pressure on him so early with the showcases and that starting his sophomore year. He just kind of developed on his own, and then we made the big push his junior summer, and that's when he got all the exposure he needed to get into a good school. And I would, Coach Morris was up here, and I look at it another way. I think these kids play way too many games. I mean, we're playing 80 to 100 games as a 10-year-old with travel ball and rec ball, and they feel like they have to do that just to be able to stay on these teams. And I think it's too much. I think a lot of kids I've seen that were good athletes and good players got burned out, and they don't even play baseball anymore.
They're playing more than they do in college. More games.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it really is. And then you add all the tournaments and the showcases in on top of that. They're exhausted after the end of the summer.
Would you rather have those kids playing other sports? Many pro scouts say they kind of prefer the multi-sport athletes.
I think we see it now at the big league level that the diversified athlete is kind of a thing of a past. And I told my parents when I coached Griffin's teams, they came up to me, and when our season was done, they said, what do we do now? Should we go get lessons? Should we do this travel? I'm like, no, take the summer off and let them play something else. Go play soccer. Or, it's always refreshing to come back to baseball when you really want to do it.
Or racquetball, which was good for you.
Oh, I encourage any parent to get their kids into racquetball if they can, because it's great for their hand-eye coordination and really develops other aspects of every sport.
All right, so next time I see you, I expect to see some Duke gear.
Oh, I'm duped out. My wife tells me all the time, you got anything else besides Yale and Duke? That's all you wear nowadays.
Jeff Kodine, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be here all week. Chevy dealers. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. By Checkers, Epic Meals, Epic Deals. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you, drive sober or get pulled over. The Presidente girls. Welcome to the show, ladies. All right, before we get in trouble, let's get back to baseball. Jose Urena for the Fish in the 6th. It's 3-0. Nationals on top. Anthony Rendon leads it off. Yunel Escobar and then Matt Dendecker. If you are just happening by, it's a Max Scherzer-Brad Hand matchup. Scherzer remains. He's given up just 3 hits. Brad Hand went 3 1/3. Jose Urena ventures into his 2nd inning in relief.
Well, so far so good for Jose Urena. He has done what he was asked to do coming into this game.
Rendon, 2 line drive hits and a walk. Marlins in New York tomorrow night. New York is in Atlanta right now, and that game is tied 2-2. Cole and Jordan in the Nationals pen.
And Rich, the big news there is that Cespedes is not homered.
Line shot, and Rojas up to make the catch.
But there's a reason for that. He's getting the day off. He's not in the lineup.
I guess the biggest score that pops off the scoreboard is that St. Louis has rallied to take a 4-2 lead over Cincinnati. Their lead in the Central down to 2.5. The Cardinals closest pursuer, Pittsburgh. The Pirates are down 5-1 to Milwaukee, bottom 3. Prado and Urena in a nice groove here.
You know, one of those games against St. Louis yesterday for Cincinnati, Anthony DeSclafani had 10 strikeouts in his 6 innings of work. He's had a nice year for the Reds.
That kind of adds to the disappointment of Matt Lato's season as a Marlin.
And as we are on this day of kids and talking about colleges, Disco, the University of Florida, a Gator.
A fellow former Gator, Matt Dendecker. Dendecker launches one right field. Ichiro back, looking up, and it's gone. 4-0 Washington. Dendecker leaves Marlins Park.
Well, remember, Dendecker came into the game when Bryce Harper had to leave for precautionary measures. But Dendecker got a fastball, kind of middle in, just dropped the head of the bat on it. It does his job. Third one of the year for Matt Dendecker.
Jason Worth now, an RBI single in the fourth. American League, who's the I think if you ask the person off the street who is even a baseball fan, said, hey, baseball fan off the street, who's the wild card teams in the American League? That ball's crushed. Left center, Ozuna and Yelich. Ozuna is there to make the catch. We'll dive into that wild card race. 4-0 Nationals lead. It's 4-0. Group tickets, great way to bring a family celebration, a networking event, or a fundraiser for your organization to a ball game. To arrange a group outing at Marlins Park, call 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/groups today. All kinds of different places you can sit, food and beverage options as well. Max Scherzer still dealing. D. Gordon, ladies and gentlemen, makes a special guest appearance, proving that an off day isn't always an off day. Gordon hitting here in the 9th spot to open up this 6th inning. 327 average. And a sharp breaking ball from Scherzer for a strike.
Yeah, amazingly, his first pinch hit appearance all year.
Bryce Harper, who leads the National League in hitting at .333 to start, was 0 for 1 before leaving with an undisclosed injury or just precaution after his collision with Derek Dietrich. received no other word from the Nationals clubhouse. Gordon pops out before Ichiro digs in. Smile pretty for the camera. T-Mobile presents the Data Strong fan of the game. Hashtag it. FL Data Strong fan. Melissa. Very nice. Ichiro's popped to short, popped to second. What have you seen from Max Scherzer today?
You know, he's pounded the zone. He kept the ball down a little better than he has. That's why he, over his last 7 starts, has an ERA over 6. But his two-seamers, that time he goes up to get Ichiro to chase it. But a lot of two-seamers, good sink, and he's always an attacking type pitcher. Now the University of Missouri on this day of talking about kids and colleges and pro ball.
He was a first-round pick of Arizona.
A Cy Young winner, 2013. 21-3 for the Tigers that year. Who's going to win the Cy Young this year in the National League, Rich?
Ichiro, right center field, and it falls for a hit. His 87th hit this year. 2,931, so he is 69 away from 3,000.
I believe that one gets him past Rogers Hornsby.
On this date in Marlins history, brought to you by Geico. Marlins beat the Nationals 4-2. And the Ramirez, his 30th homer, give the Marlins 3 infielders with 30 home runs, and that tied the major league record. Of course, that season,
what comes to mind when you read that, though?
It's San Francisco, and it's the Chevron car with a surfboard on top of it, which extended the wall in left above the regular line, and Jorge Cantu hit that surfboard. And had he not hit that surfboard and had that board not been there, the Marlins would have had 4 infielders. There they are. Hanley Ramirez, Mike Jacobs.
Look at Jake. Dan Ugla, he's in the house.
Cantu had to settle for 29. That would have been the major league record with 4 infielders with 30 or more. The Marlins did set a record for 4 with 25. That would have smoked to right. Worth is right there. Yelich hit it on the button. And there's 2 outs. Here comes Martin Prado.
What were you saying the other day? Jorge Cantu, a good follow on Twitter.
Yeah, he is. He was in Korea for a season, which was fun. And you got lots of cool photos on his Twitter account. In the Mexican League now, and his team in the Mexican League very popular, and so is Cantu. Prado takes a strike.
It's amazing how symmetry of this date in baseball history. I was listening to the little bit of the Phillies game last night. The ending, a walk-off home run by Cody Ashe.
You know, a team looking for a boost next year in September might want to try to acquire him right around this time.
Yeah, it was on the same September 12th date last year, Cody Ashe hit a walk-off home run against the Marlins.
So walk-offs exactly a year apart.
Last night was a pinch hit appearance by Ashe. The game against the Marlins, he was in the lineup.
Good speed at first with Ichiro. Scherzer. Pitch count still manageable here. You know, if the Nationals do get eliminated here in the next week or so, and it's obviously quite grim at this point, 9.5 games back, they dropped 5 in a row, you might see a guy like Scherzer treated a little differently, then back off of him and maybe stretch him out, reduce his load before the season ends.
Well, he's closing in on 200 innings, 196 innings right now. Scherzer on the year. This is his 29th start. He's had 6 consecutive years of 30 starts or more. I'm sure he'd like to reach that plateau.
Prado swings and misses. Scherzer certainly has put in 6 quality innings here. 4 hits. He is shutting out Miami.
Front of the left field line for the family from Coral Springs. And Bill, your twin boys here have been getting a few souvenirs. It didn't start out that way.
No, that was rough at first. You know, when one boy gets one and the other doesn't, having twins is tough because they're definitely going to fight over it. And I think that's what you all saw. But, you know, to start the game off, we had a nice Yelich actually threw the ball over to us, and my boy dropped it and was pretty devastated. Then later he got a foul ball, and he caught it, and that's what you all saw. And then, of course, Gavin, my other son, is just going off on him because he wanted it as well. So
now Bryce is 2 over here. He got the first ball, and he was upset because Bryce Harper went out of the game, his favorite player.
Correct. Bryce Harper, he loves the Marlins, but Bryce Harper is his favorite player. So to watch him go out in the first inning, you know, he turned to me and he said, "Daddy, this day is terrible," because I dropped the ball from Yelich and Bryce Harper went down. But
however,
now it's fantastic.
You were able to get a baseball. Were you upset with your twin brother?
Well, a little bit.
But show us, you got a ball, and we brought another, this official practice ball, beat up with Marlins infield dirt on it, not like that nice white one.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, I hope you're not upset. All right, well, you had a lot of fun. Congratulations. Were you upset that he was going to get a ball, but you were not going to get a ball today?
Yeah.
So how'd you get the ball?
The ball boy, he threw it. He knew it that I was gonna, like...
The catch?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're happy to see you. Everybody's happy now from Coral Springs.
Very much. Thank you so much.
A good ending here today, gentlemen.
Yes, well, this game not over, but nice to see everybody's calmed down the left field line. Andre Rienzo is in for Miami. It's 4-0. Nationals on top. Rienzo takes over for Jose Urena. This was a Brad Hand start. Max Scherzer's been dominant here, a 4-hit shutout. And our theme, as you take a look at D. Gordon, who has come in, our theme in this ball game has been development, kids getting to the major leagues. And Michael Hill, Marlins president of baseball operations, has a really unique perspective on that. Because, Michael, you were a young athlete, many sports in Cincinnati. You were recruited by colleges. You ended up at Harvard, much to Jeff Conine's chagrin. Then you were drafted and you played professionally in the minor leagues. And now you, of course, run the show here, baseball-wise, in Miami. So, where should we start with this one? How about if I were a 14 or 15-year-old kid or a parent of that child, and I wanted to play in college and I wanted to get to Major League Baseball, what advice would you give that child or that parent?
Practice, practice, practice. It's been a great show just to hear the perspectives, to hear from Coach Morris, to hear from Niner, who has a son who has just gone through the process. Things have definitely changed over the years since I went through it. We won't mention how many years ago I went through it, but things have changed. It's become a lot more specialized. And when you're talking about that 14, 15-year-old young baseball player, I think you've heard a common theme with Coach Morris and with Niner. When you're talking about the young people, you want position players to play and get as much repetition as possible, but when you're talking about a young pitcher, you want to be mindful and very protective of those arms.
Michael Taylor at the plate. Having gone to Harvard and played not only college baseball but also college football, you also have the perspective of multi-sport athletes. You in the baseball business seem to all of a sudden, in the last few years, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, we like those guys that play in multiple sports.
Definitely. I think Niner may have touched on it. It's nice to see athletes compete in different arenas. We get to scout them, so we get to see how they play the game of baseball. But when you can see them play in a basketball game, you can see them play in a football game. Strike three looking there. Mr. Taylor, I guess am I still hanging with you guys?
Yeah, that's good. We haven't heard this for a while. That's good.
Absolutely. Especially if you go 1, 2, 3 through the top of the 7th. We'll be back with Michael Hill. 4-0 Nationals. Hutton, please.
Well, we wish we could give you more action, but bases loaded walk got the Nationals their first run. It was a tough inning for Brad Hand. In the fourth inning, came up with a big base hit to pick up run number 2. That base hit was by Rendon, and then the veteran Jason Worth slammed one into center field. A couple of runs in that fourth inning on those 2 hits. In the 6th inning, Matt Den Decker got a pitch down and in, a fastball. Den Decker, college guy, talked about that all day, and that gave the Nats their 4th run. And that's how it stands. They've turned it over to Max Scherzer, who's throwing the ball very well.
A Scherzer who's not had a good month of starts. His last 7, his ERA actually over 6. Well, there he is throwing a 4-hit shutout, and here he is back. Michael Hill along with Tommy Hutton, Rich Schwartz. Our theme today talking about kids getting to the major leagues, whether through college, through high school, the development of players once they hit that high school age. A question for you, and I was so thrilled to finally read it in print, something that we've talked about for a while. It was Andrew McCutcheon's article from the Players Tribune. If I'm a 13, 14, 15-year-old player and I don't have the financial means for travel ball, for the showcases, how can I catch the Marlins or the Nationals' attention if I want to play baseball in college or get to Major League Baseball?
Well, the one thing that Major League Baseball, this is our job. This is what we do. We have area scouts throughout the country, internationally as well, and that is their job, to try to identify players as early as possible, get on their radar, get them on our radar, so that we can start to follow their progress as they mature and get bigger and stronger as they approach draft eligibility. But there's players that may not have the ability to attend those showcases and the various things. You know, we get a number of write-ins, of videos, of just, you know, I've got a talented young man that comes through our office. We'll send it to our scouting people just so they have that information, so that if there's someone out there, you know, it's hard to think that there's, you know, diamonds in the rough or players that you miss through the scouting process, but it still happens, and you just try to get as much information as you can on all those eligible players.
Justin Bohr lifts that into center field. Michael Taylor is there and makes the catch. Marlin players who went through college, a variety of places, and as Tommy, you will often point out, you don't have to go to Florida or Miami or USC.
All you have to do is look at that list.
Pretty good variety, Michael.
Now, if you have ability, we like to believe that as an industry we'll find you, and as you can see by that slide there, that big leaguers come from everywhere, and yes, they do come from the major programs, major college programs, but you know, I'm sitting right next to Hud, who was signed out of high school, and you look at the Marlins roster and you look at Stanton, who signed out of high school, Yelich out of high school. It depends on the player, and that's something that you know, I got to visit with Coach Morris. Swinging bunt by Ozuna. Scherzer making the play there. 2 down.
That's the Harvard coming out in you.
But we talked about it. You know, when you're that young player, and that's why we try to encourage our area scouts to get to know these young high school players as soon as possible, to get to know them. There's some players that benefit from college, and as much as we like to have the best talent and have it as soon as we can get our hands on it, there's some players that need to go to college, either for physical development or mental development. College is something that benefits them, and they're just not ready. I hate to admit it, but I wasn't ready. You know, coming out of high school, I couldn't imagine living on my own and having, you know, baseball as my career at 17 years old. I matured a lot as I went to college, and you know, there's players who are like that, and then there's others like Stan, who was a second-round pick out of high school and was in the big leagues, you know, by 20 years old. Like Jose, a high school pick, he's in the big leagues at 20 years old. You know, you have different, you know, players have different makeup, obviously, you know, different caliber of ability, and I think we, as an industry, we take a look at all of that as we're deciding who we're going to draft.
And I think that's important for the parents to see too, because they know the maturity level of their youngster, to say, you know what, I think it might be better if you're led in this direction.
No question about it.
Tough hit assignment here for Casey McGee. Get a pinch hit, and you walk into Max Scherzer, who's throwing a 4-hit shutout. He's worked the count to 2-2. Michael Hill, our final guest on what's been a fun day, talking about baseball development, the high school level, college level, and into the pros.
And certainly at the collegiate level, as we've talked to all of our guests today, the importance of the classwork and the work to be done in that area as well.
Oh, definitely. That was a line drive to right. Tough luck for Casey.
That was an important part for you. Football, baseball, schoolwork, and now look where you are.
Yeah.
Sitting between
us. Michael, thanks for the visit.
Oh, my pleasure.
We'll
guys.
see you on the plane on the way to New York.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Hernandez figurine given out. Max Scherzer spinning a 4-hit shutout right now. Into the 8th we go. Marlins.com is the place to go. If you want gear, if you want tickets, if you want news, of course you can become an insider with email and text alerts. Go to Marlins.com and log on now. Scott McGuff, right-hander out of the University of Oregon, comes on. This was a tough start for Brad Hand. Nationals got to him early in 3 1/3. Jose Urena, Andre Rienzo, Tyler Moore, who's banged out a couple of hits, to face McGuff.
One thing in the previous appearances of McGuff, another nice easy arm action, good velocity. Just a matter of, getting to this level, channeling the energy level, slowing down the game a little bit.
4 runs on 8 hits for the Nationals, who are trying to salvage a game of this 3-game set. And the first 2 have been low-scoring affairs. In fact, the Nationals had just 1 run in 2 games. Prado across the diamond, and he gets more. Miami a 2-1 win on Friday night. That was the Jared Cozart start. 5 innings, no runs. Jose, 5 innings, no runs. Last night, a 2-0 win for the Marlins. But Max Scherzer has been on his game. And he hits here with 1 out in the 8th.
Yeah, he has been the Max Scherzer that he was the first few months of the season, without question. We're talking about that stretch that Scherzer had when he threw the no-hitter and then the 1-hitter. He had a 4-game stretch, 4 starts, 34 1/3 innings. So figure it out. It's over 8 a start. Just 11 hits, 42 strikeouts, and 1 walk during that 4-game stretch.
Little tapper. McGuff bounces it. Oh, Scherzer took a turn. Gordon picks it up and thought about throwing back to first. Scherzer gets back to first base. So a swinging bunt base hit. Watch the action after he crosses first, though.
And look at Scherzer. Here's a guy, a lot of starts, teams kind of falling out of it, and he busted up the line in a hurry. Put his head down, took 1 peek. There was the turn, but he was able to get back in time.
Now Rendon. Couple hits and a line drive out. Rendon has really swung it well. Both his hits were liners. Also walked and scored in the 3rd. Off to New York, and then it's into D.C. So the Marlins and the Nationals still have 4 more to play before the season is up, and that comes at the end of the coming week.
Be another one of those starts for Jose Fernandez in Washington. Of course, then again, the Marlins will get another shot at Max Scherzer. One thing, Rich, on the recruiting out of high school process that just came to my mind, and having gone through it a couple of times with my 2 sons. My youngest son signed early. There's an early signing period, and he actually had already committed and signed to FAU before his senior year in high school.
Bouncer by Bohr into right field. Scherzer is going to try to get to 3rd. Ichiro's throw is late. Max Scherzer. You don't see too many pitchers doing that. Going 1st to 3rd with a 4-run lead in the 8th.
Yeah, not when they're in the 8th inning. But Scherzer did. And I think you can tell that just by watching him run up the line on that swinging bunt base hit. Just out of the reach of Bohr. Scherzer realizes as he looks over his shoulder he's got a chance to go 1st to 3rd. He did.
Another base hit for Rendon, his 3rd.
But I think the point on the opportunity to sign early, it took a lot of things out of his mind his senior year of high school, because he knew that he was going on to Florida Atlantic, which turned out to be a good choice.
Escobar takes away, 1 out here in the 8th. McGuff falls behind 2-0. Checkers presents Marlins Live, the post-game edition. Greg Minervini, Jeff Conine. Highlights from this one. Hopefully an update on Bryce Harper from the Nationals clubhouse. Out there, Gordon's turn. Out there. Nice double play and exactly what Scott McGuff needed. 4-0 Nationals to the bottom of the 8th.
Which was a huge thing for me. I wanted to go somewhere and, get the chance to start every day as a freshman. Obviously it wasn't handed to me. It was something I had to earn, but, I had the best chance to play there right away.
George Mason, he and his brother, Justin Bohr, they were a dynamic duo. Bohr, some other names from George Mason. Chris Widger, remember him, a catcher?
Catcher, yeah.
In the Expos and the Mariners organization. Sean Camp, a pitcher as well. Bohr's brother was Jason Bohr, who was a draft pick of the Chicago White Sox. Jim Larrañaga, the Miami basketball coach, has an affinity for that school as well. DC area school. Here is Miguel Rojas. Max Scherzer has not been an easy at bat or a comfortable at bat today for anyone with the Marlins. He's given up just 4 hits.
And only one of those, an extra base hit. Martin Prado's doubled back in the first inning. 5
strikeouts. You talked about how stingy he is with walks. He hasn't walked anybody in this game. And he's walked just 26. 26. All year. This is his 29th start. The Nationals are headed to Philly. Zimmerman, Strasburg, and Gio Gonzalez lined up for that series. Taylor back, and he makes the catch. By the way, the Mets, if you're a Nationals fan and you're holding out hope that the Nationals can make a run and they could pick up a game with a win here, not so fast. The Mets have a 4-3 lead over Atlanta, bottom 7 in Atlanta. Cardinals lead is still 4-2 over the Reds, bottom 7, and Pittsburgh, who's 2.5 behind St. Louis, is trailing Milwaukee 6-4, bottom 5. Cubs are down to the Phillies 4-3. We haven't talked to you and I since Ruben Amaro was let go.
Yeah, you know, you kind of saw that coming, especially with the addition of Andy McPhail.
Jeff Mathis with another base hit. Den Decker picks it up. Mathis hesitates. Den Decker lost it. I don't know if he lost the grip on it. Mathis stopped. He read that and ends up at second base.
All of a sudden, Jeff Mathis in his last 3 starts is 4 for 10. A couple of doubles, a home run. Having a much better approach at the plate and some good swings. Double all the way.
D. Gordon, who's in that 9 spot, his second at bat. And a breaking ball from Scherzer is a strike.
There are a lot of teams, you and I were talking about this before the game, a lot of teams that will be looking to make managerial changes. You wonder what they'll do in San Diego. Will Pat Murphy be back? The situation right here with the Nationals. Philadelphia beat McCann in interim, but you wonder if McCann will be asked back.
I'll give you one that might not be so obvious. Los Angeles.
Don Mattingly.
There's rumblings that the Dodgers aren't all that enamored with Don Mattingly, surprisingly. A 7.5 game lead in the West.
It'd be interesting. It depends on how far they go in the playoffs. Brian Price, Cincinnati.
Boy, Gordon swinging at a pitch that bounced about 5 feet in front of the plate.
Kind of surprised he stayed in this game. Because if you're going to give him a Sunday off, I can see sending him up maybe to pinch hit. But then to keeping him in the game without making a double switch, it kind of negates the off day.
Ichiro now. Mathis at second. Who else is on your scoreboard there?
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Ichiro is going to force you to go quickly through the American League.
Seattle.
Never know. 4-0. Nationals. Shutout innings. Giving up just the 5 hits. Scherzer still in the dugout. Some fist bumps. 102 pitches. 8 innings, 5 hits. And I don't see a whole lot of movement down in the Nationals bullpen. Scherzer, does he look like a guy that's out of there or is still in there?
right now, it doesn't appear anybody's throwing in their bullpen. Scherzer at 102 pitches.
Den Decker now, as Scott McGuff enters his second inning in relief. Now Den Decker is in the game because of the collision between Bryce Harper and Derek Dietrich. Harper came out immediately. He was down on the ground for a couple of minutes. Precautionary reasons is the word from the Nationals PR staff. You were talking about D. Gordon and the surprise that he stayed in the ball game, and one thought might be, did Derek Dietrich get banged up on that collision as well?
That's a possibility. You know, the odd thing about what appears like Scherzer wants to stay in for a complete game, he has 3 complete games this year. He had 1 coming into this year in his entire career.
Easier to throw those complete games in the National League?
Yes.
And he was in the National League, but he wasn't as refined and effective in Arizona, obviously, as he was once he arrived in Detroit and enjoyed those great years with the Tigers. Gordon down to get it, fires to first in time, and Den Decker is out.
Good job by Scott McGuff to get out of that little jam in the 8th inning. The double play helped. He gets the first batter out here in the 9th.
Jason Worth, an RBI single in 3 trips along with a walk. Braves have tied the game with the Mets. 8th inning now in Atlanta. It's 4-4. The Braves bullpen has had trouble for the last couple of months, really. And so that game goes into the 8th in Atlanta. Worth goes down. That Yankee Blue Jay game is now into the 9th, and it's all Yankees. 5-0.
Yankees trying to salvage one game out of that 4-game series.
That would put them 3.5 back if they get those last 3 outs. Yankees got a really nice start from Masahiro Tanaka. 7 innings of 4-hit shutout ball with 7 strikeouts. Worth walks for the 2nd time. Desmond coming up. MLB.TV. Highlights, live look-ins, live baseball. Every out-of-market regular season game. And the pitch tracking widget is thrown in as a special added bonus. MLB.TV for details. Into the bat and into right center field. Ichiro picks it up. Desmond with a single. His first hit of the ball game. And it brings up Wilson Ramos.
Well, McGuff was able to get a big double play in the 8th inning off the bat of Escobar. Ramos, a candidate on a ground ball to hit into 2.
$20 games left for the Nationals after this one. They are 9.5 back. And it's obvious a lot of things have to happen for them to have a shot. And I'm sure for the Mets, postseason plans, not overtly but privately being discussed in terms of rotation, ticket sales, logistics.
Matt Harvey.
It's probably easier now, wouldn't you think, for Terry Collins with a 9.5 game lead to figure out how to get Harvey to the postseason with some pitches left in him.
Much easier with the lead that they have.
Boy, remember when the Mets were here too to start this homestand and that whole thing happened, and you're thinking to yourself, boy, that may unravel the ball for the Mets. And the Nationals crept within 4 games to start that series.
Well, you know, you take it to another little series. The Marlins leave here, go to New York for 3 games. The Nationals will be in Philadelphia for 3. The Marlins played the Mets tough, 3-game series here.
So 1-1 to Ramos, the powerful catcher of the Nationals. There's your East. It is at 9.5. McGuff with the count, 2-1. You could throw those standings back up there. The Marlins with their nice surge. I mean, the Fish have won 9 of 11. They've won 4 straight. You can see that Miami has put a sizable distance between themselves, the Braves, and the Phillies. Tapper to third. Prado's going to go to second. Gordon with a nifty bit of footwork. I think he fooled Desmond, who wasn't sure that the ball was coming to second. Desmond in somewhat disbelief that he's out at second.
Well, here's the thinking on all parts. Prado thinking he maybe has a chance for 2 because Ramos is the runner. So he goes that way. More often than not, you're going to see a third baseman on a ball like that go to first. Fortunately, D. Gordon's able to make the grab and then get out of the way. Desmond didn't slide. No double play, and the Nationals get another run.
I think Desmond thought Gordon was up off the bag, because he lingered out there for about 20 seconds and was looking into the Nationals dugout as if to say, hey, are we going to challenge this? It's 5-0, Nationals up in the 9th. Taylor 1 for 3.
It's just a lot and too much, really, to ask of a bullpen to do what they were able to do the first 2 games, but then to have another short start, that's a whole lot to ask.
McGuff gives up a run in the 9th. Marlins' last shot. brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers and by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubota.com. Bottom 9 on this beautiful Sunday in Miami. 5-0 Nationals. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, Derek Dietrich is used to juggling baseballs, but he's had to deal with quite a bit physically in this series so far. Last couple of games here against Washington will take you back. There's the juggling. He does that very well. Takes that bat and actually told me today it clipped him in the elbow from Martin Prado. He took that fastball in the 2. He has a raspberry blackberry the size of a softball. Then today somehow collides. He kept going past the bat. Harper didn't see him. They collide. Then he hits this one off the toe. And I'm not sure if any of that was related to him coming out of the ball game middle way through this one so far or not. But very physical series so far on the start of the NFL season this weekend for Derek Dietrich.
That's right. Here is Christian Yelich, Martin Prado, and Justin Bour. Felipe Rivero is in, so no complete game for Scherzer, but boy, was he a complete pitcher. Just 5 hits. One and 2. Martin Prado. Prado had that double back in the first. Jeff Mathis doubled in the 8th. Justin Bour and Ichiro with singles, and that's it. Yelich fouling that pitch off. Actually, Mathis had a single earlier too. So Jeff Mathis a 2-hit day. Mathis getting ready for the NFL season, hanging the Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey in his locker. To short, and Desmond throws out Yelich. And Mathis was a terrific high school quarterback, and thoughts of going to Florida State and playing that position. Was recruited, but was drafted and signed as a catcher by the Angels.
The guys had a football out in the outfield early one day before batting practice. Jeff Mathis was firing it pretty good.
Here's Prado. Well, if the Marlins were to field a football team, you certainly have some size up front. You can put Justin Bour at a tackle spot. You have JT Realmuto, who was a very mobile quarterback. They ran the spread in his high school in Oklahoma. He won the, I believe, a 6A championship.
Yes.
So he could throw it and he could run it. Rendon to first. Of course, Giancarlo Stanton at Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, California, was a wide receiver corner. So you've got a little size and speed. He would be the guy you'd just throw the fade to when you're down by the goal line. If you needed short yardage, Tommy, that's the guy you run behind. Right there. Donut shirt and all. Bour's your guy. And if you can get D. Gordon the ball in space, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, you'd have to find a spot somewhere for D. Gordon, even though his, his preference would be basketball. You could find a spot for him. Punt returns.
Sure.
I think Ozuna would fit in somewhere too.
Fullback.
Yeah.
The way he's built, or maybe running back. because he's thick and fast and powerful. 4 walks. And here is Ozuna.
Talking about Max Scherzer, the outing today, his 6th outing of the season, where he's gone 7 or more innings with no runs allowed. What a nice homestand for JT.
Yeah, the Marlins were giving their best hitter or their hottest hitter a day off, and that's Real Muto. He's on deck.
With some great base running. Of course, he had the inside the park home run, but some great base running the other night.
When you look towards 2016, that's one guy that you really anticipate getting a chance to watch. He was not supposed to be here really this year. This was going to be a Jared Saltalamacchia season, and Real Muto get another year of seasoning at AAA.
Well, he's gotten his seasoning, and it's been really good.
Ozuna strikes out. Rivero ends the game. The Marlins will win the series, but the Nationals win this ball game. 5-0 the final. The Nationals hopeful that the Braves can do something late in that ball game. The Mets and the Braves are tied 4-4 in the bottom of the 8th. The Marlins take Friday and last night. Nationals captured today, and it's on to New York for the Fish to face the first place Mets. Five runs, 11 hits for the Nationals. Max Scherzer was dominant. Marlins without a run, they had just 5 hits. Marlins Live is coming up.